Hello, everyone. Well, first of all, I just want to say that I'm a bit jet-lagged, so that's why I'm walking around and yawning a bit, because I came all the way from Australia. And I want to say that right now I'm standing on the smallest stage in whole my career, but I'm super happy about that and super excited. Why? Because I'm really happy to come back to Ukraine, to my homeland, and give this presentation. And it was really flattering to me when the Node Conference of Ukraine invited me to give this talk as well. And today I will be talking about Muses Code.js, or how communities change people, and all the photos that you will see there, it's the photos of our people, of our community from Australia, and all the story is very personal, because I will be telling you about all this organization, about communities, and about, all the talk is actually about my life. And to start about who is Tania Butенko, if, for example, 4 or 5 years ago, you would come to me and say that, hey, Tania, in a few years you will be speaking on the international stages around the world on technical and non-technical topics. I would honestly will just laugh and say, oh, really? Sure, man? No, I don't think so. The reason why is because I don't have an official education in tech, in IT or computer science or anything related to tech. I have a bachelor degree in linguistics, and I've been working as a teacher of literature. I've been an interpreter, I've been a manager, I've been a business coordinator, and even when we moved to Australia with my husband, I was still keep doing the same things as translations, as a business coordination, management, and so on. So what changed? Around 5 years ago, one day I came home and said, I'm so bored, and my husband always tried to make me try some coding, and he was saying hey, try it, it's super fun, and it's super cool, and I think you will be really good in it. And my husband is a software engineer, so I was looking at him, he's very introvert, and I was saying, one introvert is enough in the family, and that thing that you are doing is no, I'm a more social person. I prefer to work with people. I cannot really just sit next to a computer all the day long and just keep learning things and keep coding and whatever kind of metrics was happening on his screen. It was really terrifying me, and I thought that it's super boring and not that cool and fun, or not for a girl. So I was no, I'm not interested. But one day I was so bored already. It was no challenge. All the things that I've been doing was already too boring for me. So I came home and I said, hey, you told me about all these coding things, about all the programming stuff, so I think I'm ready. What do you have? He gave me a game, and if I remember it correct, it was Lightbot 2. So you had just to move this tiny robot with a basic JavaScript, starting with 1 move, 2 moves, then conditionals and so on. And I love video games. So I get so excited. In a few hours, I'm coming back to him oh my God, that's so much fun. I was playing, I love it. He was yeah, I need more. He was yeah, it's a lot of levels up there. Just go and keep clicking. I was yeah, I'm done. I finished. I passed the game. I need more. Give me more. He did not expect it, and he said, well, you actually now understand all the basic logic of programming, and you can go and code. You actually been coding. I was seriously? It did not feel as a coding. It did not felt what I expected it to be. It was just a game for me. And I started to play that game 5 years ago, and I'm playing it till nowadays. I have still the same attitude to coding as it's a video game. You have a task, right? You have a tool, you have a final goal. And what you do, you're just using the tools that you have to pass the level, to get, to make your tasks green, if you do have them. And I absolutely love it. And so what was happening after that? I start coding in my free time. Oops, it works. So I start coding in my free time. I was still working full-time as a manager in a catering company. And in the evenings, I was coming home and just checking up whatever is online there. I find about the Coursera things, I find about TEDx things, and all the bunch of different resources. And because you probably know, when you're a beginner, you don't really know which way to go because there's so many different things there, and for you, like it's like this feeling of explorer. You just go and like trying to do anything that you can put your hands on. So I had like a bunch of different courses. I've been trying Python, I've been trying C++, I've been working with relational databases, relational algebra. I had courses on algorithm analysis, and so on and so on. But it was like not a big structure. It was just like a fun for me, and I was trying different topics, and the things that I actually liked, I was continuing with the subjects. Maybe in 4 or 3 months, my husband told me, so are you ready to change your career? I was like, no, I'm not. So what I was doing, I was coding, yes, and of course, I did go on different websites and try to check, like, so maybe, because I really like it, and I would be happy to do it like my full time. But I was not really confident about what I know, and thinking like, I've been not doing much, right? I was just like sitting at home and doing some of these things online. So how in the hell, like, someone want to actually hire me and pay me so much money? And I was thinking, okay, I will go and check for different job offers. And what we have in Australia is you need like 5+ years experience. You need to have like an official degree in the computer science, any kind of related tech space or all this space. And of course I don't have it. And I was like, Jesus, I'm like almost 30 years old. Like I'm not ready to go back to uni to spend my time there and like to then go all the way from the like bottom of a new career. And I was like, no, I'm not interested. And again, as I said, I was not confident as well. So what made me change my mind, it was actually communities. When I started going and like out of house and like actually going to different meetups, in Sydney we have like a lot of different meetups for different languages, for different interests, for different tools and so on. So I started to go in different communities, and that was like super interesting, but same time like a bit scary. I was coming up and I was the only woman for like, I don't know, we normally have for node meetups around 90, 100 guys coming up. And same time, most of the time when I was there, they thought that I'm a recruiter. So they never even talked with me on any technical questions or any kind of technical subjects. But then I find out that there is some meetups and some communities out there for women, and they also are practical. So in Sydney at that time we had Women Who Code, we had Pi Ladies, and then with the time we started having like Rails Girls. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. I will go and try like what's going on there. And same time, it's like women are there, so they will not assume that I'm like a recruiter or something. And I start going on Women Who Code and Pi Ladies. And as I said, they had like really practical workshops, and it was super cool. I super love it. But the thing was that they hold their workshops maybe once in a few months. So it was like super rare. So I was only on a few of them. And I was like, damn it, like why it's only a few of them? And it was, of course, it was really, really upsetting. And so today I will talk about communities and how they changed my life, and like how I decided to give back. I will talk about what community is. I will talk about why do we need the communities, and also how to be a part of community and how to give back, how to contribute, and how to grow a nice, healthy, diverse, and inclusive community as well. Okay, so let's start straight away. What is a community? Community is a condition of sharing or having a certain attitudes and interests in common. So what it means that like when people have like something in common and they share the same interest. For example, we have right now we're on a Node conference. It means that like most of us sharing the same interest in specific technology, and we want to meet and discuss the things. But the interesting moment is that community, you don't have to be in the same location to be a part of community. Community can be all around the world, especially nowadays when we have like it's so easy to communicate. And what is Muses Code.js? At the beginning, in 2016, 9th of July, I held my first workshop that I called Women Who Code and Node School. Before that, I already started joining up to different communities and helping up with organizing different events. It was a bunch of different hackathons. I also became a co-organizer of Women Who Code. So, but trying different languages and joining different communities, I saw that JavaScript community is one of most friendly ones, especially for beginners. I don't know honestly why, but I actually started liking JavaScript from pretty much beginning. And I was like, yeah, cool. And again, knowing that there is like some events for women and they're super practical and like you can go and try the things and you come home and you continue learning. I start looking for some kind of communities that are out there that are for JavaScript, for women and like, or just like even just inclusive. And you know what, 4 years ago it was not a single community for women in the world that was doing anything related to JavaScript or Node. It was a lot of communities with like a Python, it was communities with Java, it's communities with Rails, like Ruby things, and a lot of organizations that are doing just like overall tech, like Women Who Code, or like Women in IT or something like that. And I decided, okay, let's do something for JavaScript. If there is nothing like that, let's start it. And the name Node Girls came pretty much straight away, just by analogy with like Django girls, with Rails girls, and so on. So it was like kind of easy. But same time, if we do this event, no one still know about us. And I decided, okay, everyone knows Women Who Code. People in Sydney also knew about Node School quite well. And we decided, okay, let's do Women Who Code and Node School. 9th of July, 2016. We have a nice big venue. In Sydney, we have a tendency when you have a registration for any kind of event, because if you do a free event, we have like 50-50 show. Especially when it's like Saturday and it's a full day. Sydney is super massive city, so to get to center, sometimes it takes 2-3 hours for people by public transport. So it's kind of understandable why sometimes people drop off and like why the numbers are so high. Because in Australia, in the smaller cities, we do have like way bigger turnout. But you know what, surprise, surprise, 9th of July, we have 124 women coming up on event. And we had around 35 mentors. It was a full house. We did not expect it. We had like run quickly, order extra food for the lunch while people were in the rooms and doing the workshop. We did not expect it. After some conversation with some people, I realized, yes, so I was right. There is a big interest, and it's a lot of women who are actually interested in this subject. And especially when we said that we are beginner friendly, and we do have one workshop that is for complete beginners. If you don't know anything about coding, you can still come over, and we will have a separate workshop for you with the mentors helping you up to learn things from scratch. And we had so many people. On that event, we announced Node Girls, and that we'll be holding events every second month. A year after, we decided, no, it's too much. Because every single event, we had 100+ people coming up on event. And it was super hard to organize because I was the only one at the beginning who was organizing the events. But then I started having, of course, some team. But all of us have a full-time job. So, yeah. But that was a cool start. Present, so what's happening now, like after these few years when we started? We operate, it's about Australia, but the organization is international at the moment. We operate not only in Australia, but also in Japan, events happening not that often, and also in London. So now in Sydney, in Australia, we have 4 cities. We have more than 50 events per year only in Australia that we hold. We have more than 6,000 followers. We have more than 500 list of our mentors. It's normally guys, girls who are from mid to senior level. We also have 3 internship positions. And 3 internship positions I put on the bottom because it's super interesting topic it's super interesting innovations that we start doing in Australia with our organization is giving an opportunity. Okay, it's back. So we are giving opportunity for women who has no technical like a degree, and they don't have any kind of official education and no experience whatsoever, to join IT world and to have their first internship, like their job. It's something like a graduate like programs that many companies has around the world, but this one is a bit different, and it goes like 3-6 months, and it is paid. Because in Australia it's not legal to have free interns. Yeah, we still tell about it to people, but not everyone knows. Yeah, so we do have 3 women who already finished these programs, and now they changed their career fully, and they're working as software engineers. I will show you them a bit later. Okay, so what... So what's the future of the organization? Well, worldwide, we are growing really fast. We talk with South America, we talk with North America, we talk with India, Singapore, and hopefully Ukraine as well soon. I will be really happy to come here more often and really want to bring this kind of culture like back to homeland. Innovative approach. Innovative approach is like really interesting moment. Why? Because my main goal is, like the reason why I actually started the organization is to show people that like what coding is, and that you, before making decision, before having prejudice to something that you don't know, go and try it and see if you really like it. Like it was for me. I thought programming is boring, but when I tried, it literally just like changed my world. And also, one of the interesting moments about innovation is you need to think not standard, especially when like tech world is so predominantly male. And the advertisement, everything that is going out, quite often is not really appealing for women as well. And you need to be innovative how you reach people who are not in the industry yet. So for example, when you make announcement of your event, where you normally do the announcement? You normally do the announcements through the old channels that are developers using. So it's like either Slack, Twitter, like maybe some Facebook. Like we don't really use Facebook much for this kind of events in Australia, but like we have like our technical channels. But people who is not in the tech and who does not have any friends there, how they will know that they need to go for some like tech Twitter channel to see this announcement or something like that? They don't even know what to Google for. So that's why you need to think not standard to find the way how to attract those kind of people. And also, when you think about inclusive event, you need to think again outside of the box. You need to have a diverse team. Why? So one of the innovative things that we did in Australia is for our workshops, we tell straight away on registration that it doesn't matter if you're a man or woman, if you have a baby, like you have your kid, and you have no one to live them with, please bring them with you. Just put like +1, +2, +3, how many kids you have. Yes, we had the full families coming up. So just put like a number next to your name, so we know that we will have like n number of kids. And we get some people, we have a separate room for them, we bring some Arduinos, we bring some like just like a papers, we bring some video games for them, some like coding games, really depends, like Hour of Code, like Scratch, and like all these different things, or some kind of basic things, so they just sit and paint, just to like, depends what age they are. But you know, it's super interesting. It seems like so simple, but it's so important. Why? Because, as I said, Sydney is a really big city. And for example, if it's a single mom who is having a kids, like, right, and she is working, and then she has a weekend, she definitely most likely does not want to spend a weekend without her kid, or maybe she just physically cannot afford to like hire someone to sit with a kid and so on. So we, by this simple thing, we're excluding a lot of people of like coming for the event. And the last moment is educational platform. I know there is like a lot of educational platforms already, but yeah, why not? Let's make one more and make it accessible because people know about us. Okay, so why do we need all of these things, right? Now I just want to quote one famous anthropologist, Margaret Mead, about the communities and movements. So never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has. So one person was always starting any movement. If you see that something is happening, if you see that something that, in your surrounding is not the way how you would like it to be, normally, I came from Ukraine, I know how I felt here when I lived here, and that was one of the reasons why I moved that time, was I did not like a lot of things, but same time, my feeling was that, what can I do? I'm the one person who does not like it. Yeah, I know some other people who don't like it, but what we can do? Nothing. That was my feeling. And programming and communities really helped me to change this way of thinking, and I realized that it's enough of one person to start a movement. It's enough one person with idea and desire to change things. And then the main thing is, don't afraid to ask for help and see who has the same kind of thinking. Okay, so communities help us to self-grow. Now I want to show you some of our members whose life were changed. Karen from Melbourne, she used to be a counter, now she's a software engineer. Leah Sirinich from Sydney, she used to be a recruiter, now she's a software engineer, and she is also one of co-organizers for Muses Code.js. Jen Hilton from Sydney and Alex Green from Sydney. These two ladies are from very underprivileged areas, and they finished just a middle school. We helped them up, now they're software engineers. Rachel from Brisbane, Perth, and now Melbourne, so she's one of our people nationwide in Australia. She is still a recruiter, but she gets so inspired, and she got so much interest after she attended one of the events. She actually came there to try to headhunt people, but we did make her try coding, and she really liked it. So now she understands that how fun it is, and I'm quite sure very soon she will come on a dark side and leave the recruitment. And she also supports our community, and she starts supporting communities all around Australia, because she has a really high voice in the communities and around the country. She is also one of our co-organizers. She helping in Brisbane, she helps Whispers, she started the chapter there, and now she locates in Melbourne, so she helps with Melbourne. Anvesha, Brisbane originally, now she's in Melbourne. So a year ago, 2 years ago, she wrote me and she said, hey, I absolutely love what you're doing, but when are you planning to come to Brisbane? I was like, well, I will be honest with you. As soon as we get a responsible person and a person who really likes it and who wants to join us, I will help with everything to set up the chapter. We'll get you mentors, sponsors, everything. And she was like, well, I don't really know, I never did anything, I'm just a junior developer, I just started a couple of months ago, I'm not sure, I don't know anything, I cannot do any public speaking, I cannot do this, I cannot do that, I never organize. I was like, look, you have too many excuses. If you don't want to, yeah, I don't make you, it's you wrote to me. And I said, if you find someone, I will help to this person. In a few months, she wrote me back and said, hey, okay, I think I'm interested, what you need to do. And I was like, I spent with her a couple of months before we hold the first event in Brisbane, but she started the chapter and she started leading that chapter in Brisbane. And when she started doing it, of course, it was a lot of fear at the beginning, but she was surprised that as well, when she asked for help around from community, she got a lot of amazing people who jump on board and start helping her up. So now, she definitely has way more confidence. You can see how she self-grow. And, this, yellow dot there is, one thing that I always forget, so I put myself a reminder. Last year, she received a Technical Community Champion Award in Queensland for what she was doing. Shaila, Sydney, a mom of 3. I met with her a few years ago. She went for one of our workshops and she gets so inspired that she decided to become a developer. Now she's a software engineer and she's also one of co-organizers of Sydney chapter. And the last but not least is Jaden and Priya. This is our first 2 interns who completed the program. Priya, she used to be a pharmacist, now she's a software engineer. And Priya, she used to be a teacher, now she's a software engineer, and they both work in a company that monitors like around 80% of the global traffic for DDoS attacks. Communities help with the confidence. You probably hear the you cannot be what you cannot see, right? So one of the things that we promote with our events, and I give all of the things on example of our own community, but like I actually talk in general about communities. Communities give you this confidence. People try to encourage you to come and give a talks, right? We're also trying to do the same things. Everyone whom you can see on the screen right now, it's like members of our community who are giving a talks. Our members give talks on different international conferences. They give talks on national stages as well. They're holding events, they're holding workshops, and we also, on pretty much every our event, we have some small slots of time, and we tell to our members, hey, come and give a light talk, like 5 minutes. Just if you have some project or anything you're working on, something that you're really passionate about, or even just come and tell us why you start coding. Give us 5 minutes of your time. You know the community, you feel safe, you know how everyone is welcoming. So just like stand on a stage and try to give this 5 minutes talk just to start your public speaking skills and to start overcoming the fear of the stage. Opportunity to share knowledge. Very often people ask, so why do I spend my day, right, and like go and mentor someone when I'm a software engineer, I get so much money per my hour. Hello, yeah. Why don't I just like take a money for it or like do like a private course or anything? Well, the thing is that when you teach someone, you learn a lot. And this is like, you want to learn something, the easiest and fastest way is to teach. Especially, it works really great with the senior developers or with the people who've been doing only programming all their life. Because those who are beginners and they're coming up to the industry, those people has probably already some other education in some other field and they have a bunch of different other knowledge. And the interesting moment is that they can come to you and they can ask you such a question that you would never think about. And that's why it's really amazing and it's really cool. And when you share the knowledge and when you see this person finally made their first fizz buzz, how happy they are, seriously, it's super rewarding. Communities is networking and socializing. So this is the photos from some of our events all around Australia. We have, of course, way more. And this is a great opportunity, same like what we are doing on conference right now. We have a time to network, we have a time to meet new people, we have a time to meet new people, to talk about the subjects we're interested in, and to share opinion, and to hear someone else's opinion, to discuss, to learn something new, to see and try things as well. Okay, are you excited? Oops. Yeah, okay, so are you excited? Yeah? Okay, that was really quiet excitement, okay. I know you're happy inside. Okay, so how you can give back to community. The important moment is like why we even need to give back to community is because community cannot exist when you only come and take. Even such a simple example, when you have your local meetup on your like a subject, for example, JavaScript meetup or Node meetup, it's super hard to find mentors, like speakers sometimes. And what happens quite often, you're coming every month and you see pretty much same people on a stage when you go to community, like first year, second year, and then you see all the time same people. So yeah, even just coming, volunteering and saying, hey, okay, I will give a talk. It's already a giving back. And when everyone is giving back a little bit, the community grows and stays more sustainable. So communities, events and workshops. My first advice is if you do have already a topic that you're interested in, go around, have a look and see what kind of things you're interested in. And if there is something out there where you can go and help. You can always contact like organizers, co-organizers, or people who are in this event or meetup or something, for example, a Node conference. If you want to be involved, you always can contact organizers and say, hey, I would like to help. How can I help? And trust me, this is like super helpful. But if there is nothing there, start your own. Mentorship and coaching. This one is like really great one. Yesterday I was talking about it for like 40 minutes, and it was super cool. Mentorship and coaching. This goes not only for events when like people are making saying, hey, we are doing like Node School workshop, for example, for 2 hours. We are looking for mentors. So it can be this kind of mentorship, so you can come and help for a few hours. But if you are not a member of any community, you can still grow the community, but you can grow it right in your working space. You can go and check with your HR or something, if you already have it in your company, some kind of mentorship or coaching program, and if none of those exist, but you do hire like more junior people, talk with people in your company and say that, hey, maybe we should try to do something like that. Maybe we should start growing our juniors and help them up to like self-grow and just to guide them up. You also can do mentorship and coaching online. Internship programs is the thing that I was talking about. So internship programs, quite a lot of different organizations, especially non-for-profit organizations, they hold their internship programs. But internship program you can also hold in your own company. So it can be, again, like graduate program, when you hire graduates. It can be some kind of, any kind of internship program. So if you are working in a big international company, you most likely have it. So you can just like talk with few people and see how you can contribute to it. If not, again, go talk and see. Maybe you will not be really helping to establish this program, but at least you will give an idea and you will rise up this question, and some people who is more willing to help or just even have more time, they might jump on board and help up with that. Online channels. Yeah, this one is a cool one because not everyone is social person, not everyone just want to go and talk with people. Some people more introvert and they really trying to avoid people. So it's a lot of different communities, it's a lot of different discussions online, like Twitters, different maybe Discord channels or something, Slack channels, where you can also contribute a lot. And again, coming back to communities that already exist, even if they're on a big distance and you are not ready to contribute a lot of your time and to start chapter in your city or help physically, you can again always ask organizers and say, hey, I want to help, but I don't really have much time. Do you need any kind of online help? It can be even such simple thing as helping up with content, writing a post or sharing on your own channels, or maybe helping up with marketing or something like that. Okay, and in the end, I would like to talk about how to attract more diverse auditory as well. This is super hot topic for many years in Australia, and a lot of companies invite me to talk about these things. And pretty much every company I've been working at, I've been a part of a diversity committee. Okay, the first one is impression. This is super important one, and here I will say a few words about the name. So why you probably noticed Node Girls at the beginning, but now I'm talking about all the time Muses Code.js. So we did change our name last year, and the reason for that was because we wanted to get rid of both parts, Node and Girls. Well, the Node one, why? Because all the workshops that we were doing, we started growing really fast, and we were doing workshops not only around the Node but JavaScript as well. And also we start doing a lot of different internship programs. We start holding soft skills workshops and so on. So it was kind of a bit confusing for people having this Node word in our name. And about the girls, with the time we start having a lot of different discussions around this topic about belittling meaning of this word, girls. So we're not saying boys when you're coming up to the office, but saying girls. Quite a lot of women don't really like it, and so we decided, okay, let's be more inclusive. Same time we hold our events not in like exclusively for women. We do welcome everyone to our events, and we decided to have our name more inclusive as well. So we don't have the situations when guys are writing to us and saying, "Hey, is it only for women?" It's like, well, we do it to encourage women, but we welcome everyone. Advertisement and the language. With advertisement was really interesting moment. When I was helping up with a few hackathons, with the NASA hackathon in Australia, with FIFA hackathon in Australia, and I was going and making advertisement in many places, and people heard my name, like my last name, and we don't really have many Russians and Ukrainians going to hackathons or any kind of meetups or like coding workshops or anything like that. So it's really rare that you will see like our people there. But on that hackathons, we had around 20-30 people, Russian speakers. They saw my name, and they were like, "Oh yeah, so we thought it was someone of our people doing something, so we just want to go and see." I did not pay much attention that time, but when we start holding our events, and one of our events that we had, one of our organizers, Rina, she is Indian, she went and started making advertisement. And interesting that on that event, we had way bigger number of Indian women coming up. Now we have one of our organizers, Brazilian girl, Tatьяна, when she started advertising it, and of course she has access to like a Brazilian community. Well, surprise, surprise, yeah, we have more Brazilians now. So advertisement is super important. And the language, as in Australia, we are a multicultural country, and we have a lot of people whose English is not native language. Because of that, you don't want to put more stress on them, and we are trying to use like really simple English and really simplified language when we are doing any kind of workshops, announcement, public speaking, and so on. Personalities. Every event, every community has its personality, and you need to make an impression from the beginning that your environment is safe, that you have a diverse team of organizers and announcers, as like what I explained before. And of course, this is like most of my team in Australia, who helped me to do everything there. And the last, it's not the last, pretty much last, involvement. As I was saying, I don't know why, but like most of women like more hands-on workshops. Maybe because you can do it by yourself, and if you don't understand something, you can Google and so on, but like rather than coming up to meet up where you have only a talk. Interaction is super important as well. Networking time, stay in touch, and always ask for feedback. Why? Because you never know what you don't know. You don't know what you don't know, right? And many things you might never even think about them, like before someone will actually write you and say and point out on these things. And the last but not least is the food. Be mindful about the food for your events, and be diverse with the food as well. There is some people out there who has a different dietary requirements. But another one is, example in Australia, every meetup that we have, and as I mentioned, it's like 98% guys, what we have there is a pizza and beer. I'm not joking, yeah. I love pizza, but like when you have too many meetups, my trainer hates me. So think about it, and if you do make an announcement and you do say that you have a healthy option, you will see that you will have more women coming up on event as well. And now, to finish my talk, I just want to say, you need to remember that coding is a great power of innovation and creation. And we have this power, right? And with any power comes a big responsibility. What is our responsibility? Our responsibility is in the front of the next generations of community and developers who are coming in. So we do need to think about it, because we are right now shaping the future of the community of the language, like as a community of the framework, community of the tech in general. And it's super important. Thank you, and stay in touch.